Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame Podcast website and Facebook group. Gospel Reflections for Wednesday in the 18th week in the Ordinary Time. Gospel taken from Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 to 28. Jesus went to the district of Tyre and Sidon. This was a non-Jewish territory. A Canaanite woman from these parts came and cried, "Have pity upon me, Son of David. My daughter is grievously afflicted by a demon." Well, Jesus answered not a word. His disciples came and asked him, "Send her away, for she is shrieking behind us." Jesus was in some way indifferent. Jesus answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." And she went ahead. She did not relent. She came and knelt and entreated. "Lord," she said, "help me." Jesus again retorted, and that was not a very pleasant answer on the part of Jesus. It is not right to take the children's bread and to throw it to the pet dogs. Well, she did not give up. "True, Lord," she said, "but even the dogs eat of the pieces which fall from their master's table." Jesus answered her, accepting her answer. He says, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And at that instant, her daughter was restored to health. There are tremendous implications in this passage. Apart from anything else, it describes the only occasion on which Jesus was ever outside of Jewish territory. The supreme significance of the passage is that it foreshadows the going out of the gospel to the whole world. It shows us the beginning of the end of all the barriers. For Jesus, this was a time of deliberate withdrawal. The end was coming near, and he wished some time of quiet when he could prepare for the end. It was not so much that he wished to prepare himself, although that purpose was also in his mind, but rather that he wished some time in which he could prepare his disciples against the day of the cross. There were things which he must tell them and which he must compel them to understand. Well, there was no place in Palestine where he could be sure of privacy. Wherever he went, the crowds would find him. So that was the situation. Everywhere they spotted him, everywhere they followed him, everywhere they wanted to listen to him, to touch him, ask favors from him. So he went right north through Galilee until he came to the land of Tyre and Sidon, where the Phoenicians dwelt. There, at least for a time, he would be safe from the hostility of the scribes and Pharisees, and from the dangerous popularity of the people too, for no Jew would be likely to follow him into Gentile territory. Now, what do we understand from this gospel passage? We find the insistence on the part of the woman. She never considers the words of Jesus as humiliation. She goes on asking him, insisting, persevering in her intention to get something from Jesus. We can just understand she was a woman of real faith. When Jesus said, "It is not right to take the children's bread and to throw it to the pet dogs," to call a person a dog was a deadly and contemptuous insult. The Jew spoke with arrogant insolence about Gentile dogs, infidel dogs, and later Christian dogs too. In those days, the dogs were the unclean scavengers of the street lean, savage, often deceased. But there are two things to remember: the tone and the look with which a thing is said that make all the difference. A thing which seems hard can be said with a disarming smile. We can call a friend an old villain or a rascal, but with a smile and a tone which takes and sting out of it and fill it with affection. We can be quite sure that the smile on Jesus' face and the compassion in his eyes robbed the words of all insult and bitterness. Probably Jesus was looking at the woman with a smile, with a little bit of humor. We never know. Well, this woman never gave up. She wanted her thing to be done. This woman had faith. It was a faith which grew in contact with Jesus. She began calling him Son of David. That was a popular title, a political title. It was a title which looked on Jesus as a great and powerful wonder worker, but which looked on him in terms of earthly power and glory too. She came asking for a boon from the one whom she took to be great and powerful. She came with a kind of superstition too, as she might have come to any magician. Well, dear friends, this particular gospel passage must increase our faith. No matter how mean we are sometimes, how low we are in our approach to Jesus, but when we come with that persistence, when we come with that spirit of worship towards Jesus, Jesus will not say no to us. That is why Jesus very often said, "Ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened." We should be like this woman who was a Canaanite, whose daughter was healed because she had real strong faith. God bless you.